70% of people who seek asylum, their cases are denied, meaning that when they are adjudicated in a court of law, which you might disagree with, they're saying they claimed asylum and they were full of shit. 70% of refugees who claim asylum, a court says they're full of shit.
The court does not say that they're full of shit. The court decides they don't meet the legal requirements to be considered a refugee, and then they're deported. That doesn't mean that they're not. Doug, do you understand?
I mean by full of shit. It's just a more flowery way of saying it.
Okay. What if the people don't realize the nuance of what makes a refugee and what doesn't? You do realize they ratcheted that up with the executive order.
I'm talking about the courts, and you admitted it earlier.
That's what I'm talking about too. It's part of the rule.
70% of refugees who come in and claim asylum are full of shit.
That is not what that means. If you think that, you are an ignorant asshole. It does not mean that they're full of shit. It means they got denied. Oh my! You can't assume.
That's what I mean when I say full of shit.
Get out of here!
You're getting triggered by the phrase shit
because you're acting like an ignorant uncle at Thanksgiving.
I mean,
they're just full of crap. Like,
let me be more
nuanced. An administrative court decides out of 70% of the time that these people are not going to be considered refugees. It does not mean that the people did not make an honest pitch and claim like, yes,
I didn't say that. Sure, they made an honest pitch for it, but then the court decided that what they claim as refugee status is not really refugee status. That's what I mean by full of shit.
But that's not them being full of shit. That is an administration.
Why are you white knighting this so much? I mean, it's just a phrase.
Oh my God, Jesus.
You have such feel sorry forism.
No, this is just one of those things. As an administrator, you have to be careful about what you're talking about. What you're misrepresenting isn't the asylum seekers. You're misrepresenting the law. They don't decide that these people are up to something, or they're just they got a weak claim or something. For whatever reason, and there's a lot of different little nuanced ways that they get disqualified. They don't hit the mark, the weird magic mark, and then they are sent home.
That's what I mean by full of shit. That's all.
When you say that, what you're implying, and you know you're fucking doing this, you're implying that those people were up to something from the get-go. You know that you were casting aspersions on the asylum seekers.
I'm sure at least one did. I'm sure one did.
If you say that any of them, the 70% are all full of shit, then you're casting aspersion on 70% of asylum seekers. Do you not know how to do this math?
Do you think if someone had a really strong refugee case, asylum case, like the hurricane example you gave, like if I don't seek refuge in the United States, I will die because otherwise there's no place to flee to and a hurricane's going to kill me. Do you think that if they had such a strong case that they would go to a port of entry or not through a port of entry? Because
no idea. Why do you think people don't go through a port of entry? It was because it's backlog. That was your reason? It depends on the strength of it. If you've got somebody that is fleeing because they
knowing the CLP rule.
Well, the CLP rule makes it so that if the crossing is just high, they don't have to use any discretion at all. They can just start once they hit that. So that doesn't matter.
The CLP rule says if you cross at a non-port of entry, you're presumed to be ineligible for asylum. Why would you risk that?
You're presumed, but it's not guaranteed.
Why would you risk that to be presumed ineligible if you had a strong case and go through a port of entry?
I don't know, but
you do know. You just don't want to say it.
What are you talking about? I don't know. I'm not trying to assume.
Because they know they don't have a strong case and they just want to be in the U.S. for 5 to 7 years until their court date to make some U.S. cash.
Crossing at
that's the same thing as being full of shit.
They're more likely to get turned away immediately and forever if they get caught that way. Their chances are infinite. They have no incentive to do that unless their life is in danger.
5 to 7 years of making U.S. cash.
No, those ones end up getting kicked out, man. And they don't get an asylum hearing.
Unless, in what time frame?
An immediate, with the new rule that you were talking about, it's an immediate rejection.
Oh, really?
Because they can, yes, because they can presume that they're not. They don't have to
wait for their court date.
No, that's the whole point. That was the point of Title 42. Where have you been?
No,
I have been making videos about this. You have not listened to any of my.
We are talking about two different things. If someone crosses
Let me make
claims
sure.
asylum,
Hang on. Let me make sure that we've got the path here, right?
okay.
If you come into this country and you want to claim asylum, you can try to do it through the app. You can do it at a port of entry. Or
Right.
if you cross illegally and get picked up, you can make the claim as they're processing you for the misdemeanor of having crossed illegally.
Right.
Once you get that date, right? Then if you get that court date. But what the executive order allows is that if the crossings have hit a certain ceiling, they don't have to take the claim of asylum seeking. So you're immediately kicked out.
I understand Biden changed things because of political pressure. But what I'm talking about is if someone comes across at a non-port of entry, claims asylum,
yes,
can they not stay in the United States and work?
Not necessarily. It depends on it depends on the discretion of Border Patrol now.
Okay. So a border guard lets them in.
It sends them to a court case. Yes, they'll go before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is the $1 million question. What's the average time from them being let in to their
1.7 years? 1.7 years.
1.7 years. So they can earn U.S. cash for 1.7 years.
Yes.
And still be full of shit. That's the point I'm making.
That's not a good point, man.